Hello, folks. Welcome to the Crime Dawg podcast. I'm your host, Johnny FIORICA, retired detective with the Rochester, New York Police Department after serving 30 years. Sitting alongside me, also a retired detective with the Rochester, New York Police Department, David Simpson. Folks, we sit before you today with a wealth of knowledge and a ton of experience, but if you want to check out what we did throughout the course of our careers, you can check out our bios on our YouTube channel, or you can go to our website at thecrimedogpodcast.com. While you're there, check out our cool merch store. David, welcome to the pod, brother.
It's a great day, Johnny. Happy to be here.
Yeah, it is a great day, man. Yesterday was a great day for America. Recording this pod the day after the inauguration because we obviously wanted to take it all in. But the inauguration of President Trump, the 47th president of the United States of America, happened yesterday. It was unbelievable. David, I was talking to you off camera. In 2016, I, like many others, thought the cards were stacked against Donald Trump. I didn't think he had a shot of beating Hillary. I mean, I thought he was going to get a ton of votes, but I just didn't think he was going to win in the margin, in the fashion in which he did. And then come 2024, with the lawfare against him the last 4 years or plus, with the multiple impeachments from the last presidential campaign and everything they did to weaponize the DOJ against Trump, I was like, man, this is going to be a tough one. And here we are today talking about him again.
It's kind of amazing how an outsider can come in and just rock the world. And that's exactly what happened in 2016. You know, I don't know if another candidate has ever come to the presidency as a complete outsider like Trump did. And pretty amazing that we're sitting here today and he's back.
I wasn't happy originally that he lost in 2020. I wasn't happy. And I'm not talking about, saying that things were rigged or not. I'm just talking, the fact is he was not our president going back to back in 2020. At that time, not knowing what I know now, I'm glad that happened, to be honest with you, because for two reasons. The naysayers against Donald Trump had a chance to actually see how the Democrats wanted to govern. And it was a direct correlation because it was a back-to-back presidency, right? So he lost in 2020. Biden came in, and the Dems, whether it was Joe Biden and the puppet masters behind closed doors, the way they ran this country into the ground in 4 years, people were like, whoa, what the hell? And they had such a recent comparison from the previous 4 years with Donald Trump to actually see how America could and should be governed. Whether you like Trump or not, he did great things for America. I was very happy that he won this time, and I was happy that seeing what we saw last time, he didn't win, but now I'm glad that America, the American public, got to see the compare and contrast.
It's the old adage, like you're sometimes here is you have to take a few steps backwards to go forwards. And I don't know if Trump won when he went against Biden, we would have seen the changes that we're going to see this time in that presidency due to the political climate and the climate of the country at that point. I think it has worked out very favorably for Donald Trump's presidency to have it line up the way it has. And like you said, it's the compare and contrast. You see how bad the country was run and how well it was run before. And it really gave the country and the American people a sense of yearning or desperation for to go back to that. How horrific of a president Joe Biden was. It made Donald Trump being president cool. It made it like we need that guy. You certainly wouldn't have had that had he won his second term. And when it lined up perfectly for Democrats to be in power in this election and moving forward, because I don't think as much stuff would have gotten done.
Yeah, speaking of that, I had the pleasure of flipping back and forth, right? I like to flip back and forth between the liberal stations like MSNBC, CNN. I can't watch it for very long, but it was interesting to watch the meltdowns on those liberal Democratic channels because, and not like I was enjoying it, but it was just funny to see them melting down because they obviously have not learned from their mistakes, especially the media. I mean, CNN, MSNBC, I mean, their numbers and their ratings have just tanked, and the numbers are devastating. I don't even know how the hell they're still in business. But it was interesting to watch the non-Fox news stations, the people that have done nothing but team up with the Democratic Party for the last 8 years to smash Donald Trump, and they still haven't learned their lesson. And to piggyback what I was going to get, my point was, this is going to solidify the Republican Party for another 4 years after Donald Trump.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way. The mainstream media is much like the Democratic Party. They haven't, pulled back on their rhetoric and where they stand, so to speak, and neither has the Democrats taken the loss. It's like the whole entity of media and the Democratic Party, no one has recognized what the American people truly want, and they both are doubling down. It's almost like together they're doubling down. And, and kind of a parlay to that, thank God Elon Musk bought X or Twitter, because I think that is a singular moment in our lifetimes that changed the course of both politics and freedom of speech and media in America. And if he hadn't have done that, I don't really know where we'd be. And I certainly don't think Donald Trump would have won the presidency.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I saw a lot of chatter, if you will, on Twitter yesterday. They would take a side shot of Zuckerberg and Bezos. Obviously, Bezos owns not only Amazon, but the Washington Post. And I saw a lot of left-leaning Democratic Twitter people saying, oh, look at them, oligarchs. They're calling them all oligarchs, basically saying that now they're all going to have a piece in running this country with Donald Trump. What was amazing about that, they had no problem with the quote-unquote oligarchs when Zuckerberg and Bezos, they were all in the pocket of the Dem. And now looking back, I don't know, to be honest with you, it's too early to tell for me, at least. I don't know if people like Zuckerberg and Bezos were basically forced and bullied, because that's how the Democrats roll. If they were forced and bullied, if their businesses were threatened, to be on board with them. But now that they've gone all in on Donald Trump, now apparently they don't like any of these people. It's unbelievable.
It is. And it's amazing that people can talk about oligarchs when you have Zuckerberg was writing huge checks for the Democrats. Soros was writing huge checks for the Democrats, both local elections and national elections. You had Bill Gates' wife, who was completely dropping huge coin to back Democratic liberal fronts, all these super wealthy people. But it's not fair when the other team uses their resources to fund things and to shape things. It's often the whole hypocrisy of the Democratic Party.
Yeah, the disgust that I have with the Democratic Party that also came out yesterday, because I hadn't heard it prior to, but I think the Lake and Riley bill was voted on yesterday, and it got passed. But what disgusted me was it wasn't a unanimous pass, and I mean, talk about shooting yourself in the foot, right? These Democrats or whomever voted against this, I just don't understand their rationale, David, how you vote against a bill like that.
Well, it's all politics. The reason they vote against the bill is because a Republican wrote the bill. Yeah. Republicans want something. What do Democrats do? They try to shoot it down. Just look at the candidates that Trump has going into his cabinet. Pam Bondi couldn't be a more qualified individual for the attorney general spot. I mean, she is literally, her resume is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yet the Democrats just hammer these people, and it's not even really good questions or good vetting on their part. It's all for show, and it's just because it's a Republican.
Yeah.
And it's a shame. It's shame. Politics are just god awful, and I'm just glad we are in the place we are today. That's all I can really say. It's a horrible business.
No, it is a horrible business, and we're very lucky that Trump took over. The fanfare yesterday was unbelievable. I think that he changed the way inaugurations are done. It wasn't that stale, political.
It was a party.
Mechanical. Yeah, it was a party. It was a celebration of not only his win, but it was a celebration for America getting back to normalcy. I will say this, though, David, if you did catch this yesterday, a lot of the networks were stealing our tagline. Not networks, I should say. Fox News, actually, was stealing our tagline talking about common sense. And everybody knows that our tagline is finally common sense has arrived. So it was pretty cool to see that,
It's not Republican or Democrat. Full disclosure, I've voted for Democrats. I was an independent for years. It is common sense.
Yeah.
Everything that my political views are based on is simply common sense for what's good for me and my family, my friends, and what I believe to be the best things, common sense wise, for America.
Right.
And it really isn't. I don't really see Dem or Republican. That's why someone like John Fetterman, I think the guy's phenomenal. And if I lived in his area there and I was voting, he would be a strong person I would strongly consider to vote for, regardless of who the Republican candidate was going against him. Because I think the guy makes a lot of common sense. I think he's a good dude. He gets it, and he's his own man. And we always have to be careful when we do this. Is people that tune in are like, oh, these guys are way right and Republican, and it's all this, and they're Trump lovers and that. No. We're lovers of common sense, and we're lovers of America, and that's a big difference. It's not about Republican or Democrat. It's about policy, as we always say, and about common sense.
Yeah, you're right, David. We talk about you vote policy, you don't vote people. Folks, we're going to leave it right there. If you liked this episode, please click like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. If you can't get enough of David and I, please listen to our live show, our Crime Dawg live show on iHeartRadio. You can get that on the app or your desktop computer. If you're in the Rochester area, you can turn that dial old school to Wham 1180 on your AM dial. Folks, listen, we hope you like this episode and you stick with us for future episodes. But like my brother-in-law, Frankie Grassi, says, if you can't make it, who cares?